It was an incredible scene when the Wyatt Sicks debuted on Monday Night Raw, pretty much demolishing the backstage area in what was a cinematic masterpiece. And by the way, they went to Whataburger after. Great stuff. Many people had questions on the motives, the means, how they're going to be presented. Did they have supernatural powers? Was it going to be a horror movie? Well, all of those questions and more were answered in the Nightbird campaign and just put out in some beautiful production on Monday Night Raw. It all started off with a Bo Dallas VHS tape, and when they really turned him into a human. This wasn't Uncle Howdy, this was Bo Dallas speaking from the heart. This was a guy who lost his brother, and I was trying to honor him in the most Wyndham way possible by forming a horror faction with people who have been abandoned by their families because, well, Bo knows what it's like to lose a family member. Highly emotional and captivating these VHS tapes were, and they revealed to us a lot about the motives and confirmed that they were going to go after people who abandoned their family because all 5 people in the group were abandoned by theirs. Up next was Eric Rowan, and probably my favorite VHS tape of them all. He lost both of his brothers, Brody and, well, Bray. His 2 rocks, the 2 people he relied on most for not only emotional but professional support. When he lost Brody, all he had was Wyndham, and he lost Wyndham as well. Uncle Howdy gave him place, gave him a belonging, gave him a meaning, and most of all, he gave him that mask. That mask that reminded him of the good old days in the Wyatt family and pretty much persuaded him to come back. The next VHS tape that we got was from Nikki Cross, the only person who has not been revealed as their former WWE character as Abby the Witch, and she screamed, "Cool." Dexter Lumis was revealed as Mercy the Buzzard, and he finally said a word, "Run." And then the final VHS tape came out on this Monday's Raw with Joe Gacy, who I think is going to be the guy who comes out of this group as the next Bray Wyatt, rocking back and forth, saying, "Let us in," just captivating stuff from Gacy, who is going to be a standout member of this group in due time. The first few were delivered by Abby the Witch, and I think these did a really good job of getting them into the WWE and, in a way, humanizing them, saying, this is not going to be supernatural. We are people who have been wronged, who have been forgotten by our families. They outlined the motives exceptionally well. This is the best way they could have introduced the Wyatt Sicks, and it was a way no one expected. No violence, just real, raw emotion. Now, during this time, they went after Chad Gable, a man who had forgotten about his family, and I think Chad and his eventual partners, the Creeds, have just been awesome with being these horror movie jocks who have no clue what they've gotten themselves into. I think Chad is a perfect fit for the story, and one that I never would have expected. And through this, he did gain the Creeds. He gained, now as they're known as, American Made. And I think what you've seen with Chad Gable is, he's the guy who doesn't know what's going on, which makes the Wyatt Sicks seem even more dangerous because of Chad's selling, his facial expressions, and I think, as no one expected Chad Gable, the feud it's hit. It's been awesome, and I think, take a look at the Wyatts and everything they've done, it's really revolved around the family, and Gable has created a family for himself after abandoning his original one. It's just great storytelling. And after unmaskings and attacks, a 3-on-3 tag match was set for the Raw after SummerSlam, and what we got was a spectacle. So first of all, credit to American Made. I think they were just the best punching bags possible, and they still got offense, which was pretty important. There were a lot of questions going into this on if the production and the entrance and everything surrounding the first thing you see in their first match would hit, and boy did it. Hearing Shatter, seeing the rocking chair, seeing the lantern. I mean, when these 5 come out and they're walking creepily, I mean, it's aura. We talk a lot about aura in wrestling, and it is pure aura. So right after Bo blows out the lantern, the match just starts. And the great thing about this is it was not supernatural. There was no weird lighting. It was just a wrestling match. And it started out hot, and, they just some good tag team moves. I think Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, for this being probably their first time in front of a main roster audience as this, spooky character, they did awesome. Lumis was the highlight of this match for me. He came to play, and Gacy hit some real nice moves, and then Rowan obviously doing his job. So we go to the break with the Wyatts dominating, and then during the break, which I think is really smart, American Made gets a lot of offense in. So you have the vulnerability, which I think is so important at this stage, is to make the Wyatts seem vulnerable. Make them seem human. Don't make them supernatural. That's where the Fiend got messed up. And, during the break, people may be watching, they may not be watching. It was in picture-in-picture, but I know I don't watch during picture-in-picture. But I looked up, and American Made was getting in some offense. And out of the break, Gacy hits this handspring double lariat on the Creeds, which I thought was spectacular. Gets a hot tag. They have some more action, and Loomis continues to be incredible. He does a double leg drop to the outside on the Creeds. Double Uranagi by Loomis and Gacy. Iron Claw by Rowan, and then this was awesome. This power bomb tandem maneuver by Gacy and Loomis was exceptional, and then Dexter Loomis picking up the pin. That shocked me. I thought they'd give it to Rowan, but he gets a splash assisted by Rowan. 1, 2, 3. Everything about this was awesome. From the vulnerability to being just a good match. This was a good wrestling match. These guys showed what they can do, not from a wrestling perspective, which was very good, but also from a character perspective. And with Bo just sitting on the outside in that rocker, everything felt right. Once again, it was a perfect debut. And to answer the question of if WWE is handling the Wyatt Sicks correctly, yes, they are. I think making them not supernatural is super important. You've humanized them. You've made them seem vulnerable through the VHS tapes, and I thought the match was awesome. While it didn't make American Made look bad, they looked good in the match. They got offense and they worked over the now baby faces in the Wyatt Sicks. I thought everything about this was awesome, and everything so far has been awesome, and I'm only looking forward to more with the Wyatts. And that's all I've got today from Section 101. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify for those long-form podcasts. And make sure to check out our Instagram and our new website, section101.org. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.